What just happened? I'm watching day 2 of the draft, and I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around this. The Ravens get the 10th overall player in this draft. And in day 2, the football gods deliver us Mike Green, the 8th overall pick. Let's talk about this and more in the Ravens Football Junkies Podcast, day 2 of the 2025 NFL Draft. All right, everybody, we're back. And it's real. I pinched myself. It's real. We got Malachi Starks day 1. And I've heard from you people. Y'all sent me texts. You sent me emails. Some of you said, man, we went the wrong direction. We should got a pass rusher day 1. A, B, C, D, E. I looked at the presser. I looked at EDC. I listened to Harbaugh. I saw what Chuck Smith had put out there. We knew that Malachi Stark was a Chuck Pagano pick. This is what he wanted to shore up that secondary. And personally, with me, I have no problem with it. We needed somebody back there that was a ball hawk. That's why you brought in Marcus Williams. That's why he was successful the first year. And when he fell off, Geno Smith went back there and he picked up. But we need somebody like that back there to allow Kyle Hamilton to be placed all around. You got 2 pieces to a puzzle. And I'm going online to call them to you the Terror Twins. Hamilton and Starks, the Terror Twins. Because they're going to raise heck in that backfield. You're going to see them in and out, crazy exotic plays, Chuck Pagano or Harbaugh. They're going to have a great time back there, mixing and matching. And you actually can do this and allow, when you're going against a Burrow or Joe Flacco or whoever, Pittsburgh, Mason Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, whoever's going to be in Pittsburgh, but whoever's back there, you can mix and move and play all kinds of games in that secondary. You got Humphreys, Pro Bowler, superb. Couple of years, in not the player he used to be, but he's definitely a solid. He's a solid nickel inside slot type corner who can play a little bit on the outside still. You got Nate Williams, the young gunner, the young line that we drafted in the first round, who had a pick 6 this year. And he's only getting better because now he knows what he's looking at, and he's actually training and working out, and he is getting that mentorship. And you got Awuzie, we brought him in for depth. But I was looking for the Ravens to probably pick up another corner. TJ Tampa, who I loved in college. But now that he got veterans like Dean Pease and Chuck Pagano in there working with him, he's going to be a lot better. And if we saw the jump in a Darius Washington halfway through this year, I only could expect more because they got more time to work with these guys. Man, it is crazy in Baltimore. And people are upset. They say, oh, we should have did this. We should have did this person and that person. I am not upset with Malachi Stark and now Mike Green. Now, some people are saying, Mike Green, they picked up Mike Green. He's a rapist. He's this, he's that. No. You don't know the whole story. I don't know the whole story. I'm only going to report what I know. With the 59th overall NFL 2025 pick, whoa! The Baltimore Ravens shocked the world with Justin Tucker having sexual allegations and all this stuff like that. They shocked the world. What did they do, brother? Well, brother, let me tell you what they did. They went out and got Michael, the Terminator, Green. The man is a predator. He's a on your quarterback and he's done. Joe Burrow. Josh Allen. Joe Flacco. An ABCDEFG quarterback. Mason Rudolph or whoever on the Steelers. You are not going to sit back there in that pocket and dance around and order your lunch on Uber Eats and have all day to throw that ball like you did last year because Mike Green is coming. 1, 2, better buckle your shoe. 3, 4, better close your door. 5, 6, better crucifix. 7, 8, Michael Green's gonna lay you out straight. Mike Green, who is he? He's a 6'3", 251-pound defensive end out of Newport News, Virginia. Virginia boy in the house, baby. A Virginia boy in the house. He played college football first with Virginia Cavaliers, and then the allegation of some kind of sexual activity or something that happened between his high school and college. He was suspended from Virginia, and then he went to Marshall. And in Marshall, he was named in 2024 the Sun Belt Player of the Year with leading the FBS with 17. Listen up. 17 sacks. And then a lot of people upon to say, oh, it was against smaller schools. But did you see him against Ohio State? Did you see him? Did you see him? If not, watch the film. Go back and look. He's dominant. 17 sacks. You know, let me be real with you. A lot of these teams in the first round reached based on potential for some of these guys. Look, I want you to look at the first round. Some of these guys didn't do double digits. They did 6 or 7, and they had a first round tenure. They grabbed him in the first round. But Mike Green has one thing that Baltimore has been missing. That's consistency. He's consistently hitting the quarterback. He's consistently getting sacks. He's consistently being a very disruptive player every play. He's back there. He's putting 300-pound tackles on their butts. He's back there. He's what we've been looking for. We haven't seen nobody nasty like this since Terrell Suggs. Real talk. We have not seen anyone like this since Suggs. And I know we had Judon and Zadarius Smith, but they're not Suggs. They're not like having motors like Michael McCrary. They're not like that. That's not. Green is a 21-year-old guy, and again, he was suspended from Virginia, but, you know, in the pre-draft process, listen, the boy was honest, and he said this at the pre-draft process. He says, there are accusations out there, he said to NBC Sports. I have never been questioned. I've never been asked. Nobody ever asked me a question about what happened before I departed from Virginia. It was just accusations that caused me to leave. I'm not worried about any of these things at all. I have no concerns. I have no problem with talking to these teams about it because I know I am and I know the truth. I know I'm innocent. Now listen, this is important. When you got these accusations, he had one coming out of high school into college, and he had one while in college. Now, I know the court of public opinion will probably say, you know what? First one, maybe. Second one, something's up. Now, listen. I believe what I heard EDC say at the presser, because they're going through issues with Tucker. And Tucker will be probably jettisoned in this draft, after the draft. If you know you're dealing with that then, and we went through the Ray Rice issue, and they went through the Ray Lewis murder trial, best believe they did their due diligence. There's no charges, no investigation, nobody coming forth. But my fear is that we live in a time when he gets out there and he starts getting that moolah, that bag, that money, that Skrilla. Somebody gonna pop up in a civil lawsuit trying to get a bag. I'm telling you, you've seen it. I've seen it very recently. You don't have to have criminal charges to file a lawsuit in civil court for allegations, because the proof in a criminal trial is different than that in a civil trial. Ask O.J. Simpson. He was acquitted of the murder, but found guilty and had to pay money out in the civil suit. Crazy, y'all, but it happens every day. So Mike Green, you may not see nothing now, but people are counting your money. They're looking at your bag, and they're coming for you, brother. They're going to come for you. Best believe. Somebody watched the draft. They saw your tears, and they say, you know what? In a year or two, when you go out there and start that, they're going to become a distraction. And the one thing that you don't want in your NFL career is distractions. That's why I believe, after doing some research, hearing some people, one of the reasons why teams still have Shedeur Sanders still on the board is because they believe it's not negative distractions, but he's a celebrity. And we're going to talk about that a little towards the end. So remind me, we're going to talk about Shedeur at the end, about his celebrity status, causing it hard for teams to want to bring him in to be a backup right now. And with that celebrity, it's going to cause problems. We're going to talk about that, but let's get back to Mike Green. Despite Green's admissions to the allegations and the fact that they dated back to the time he was at Lafayette High School in Virginia, that prompted several NFL teams to remove Mike Green from their draft boards. So he should have went within the top 20. But because of these accusations and allegations, they've removed him, which allowed him to free fall. And some teams stretched to get these 6 and 7 sack guys, inconsistent guys that they put a lot of stock into in the first round. The Ravens got him at 59. I want you to also know this, that according to Sports Illustrated, once Green fell deep into the second round, others speculated that Green's pre-draft interviews also contributed to his slide. Green displays a natural instinct to rush and harass quarterbacks. He likes to get in the backfield to cause havoc. Running backs don't like him. And in that statement, they said you have to watch, because Connolly caused him to have a problem, that he has to get a little bit stronger because he had a problem with bigger backs in the backfield. So I'm not worried about that. We got Chuck Smith, the doctor of thugonomics when it comes to pass rush. He will get stronger. He's 21 years old. He'll get that weight system. See, he's going to get what he get. He's going to get stronger. He'll get faster. Remember what all the pontiffs said before. Ray Lewis is an undecided linebacker, and the Ravens should have took the running back instead of taking him. And look how that it turned out. And Hall of Fame career. So I know as a pass rusher, he's going to get stronger. He's going to get smarter. He has a heck of a spin move. This dude, he is the real deal. And I think the Ravens, the football gods, and shined down on the Ravens and gave them their pick. And we needed him. We need him. And I'm going to say this right now to y'all. I'm going to say this, and just listen to me. If the rumors of Adafi Owe, of him being disgruntled and him wanting the bag, are true, You may see Odafe Oweh traded away tomorrow. You may see him traded away on Saturday. You're going to see him because you can get some draft capital if you got say for instance, a third. No, not a third. You can't get a third. Get a fourth and a package fifth or something like that. A fourth this year and a fourth the next year. And the Ravens can get something for him. See, the Ravens psyched us out when we thought they were going to trade Mark Andrews, but it may be Odafe Oweh. But in a perfect world, I'm going to tell you how I would set this thing up, y'all. Just check this out. I would keep Odafe Oweh this year and him and let those two young guys, along with Kyle Van Noy and Robinson, harass quarterbacks. But if you can really get something that you can draft another solid player in the fourth to replace Oweh, because if you really look at it, Oweh got double-digit sacks last year going into a contract. So all those other years, he underperformed. Okay, he underperformed, and then we got Adisa Isaac, we got Ojabo who can't stay healthy, and if he underperformed, he gave you 1 year double digit. Okay, he's worth a fourth. And maybe packaging some things to move around. But you got Mike Green. You got Mike Green. And let's look at the skinny on him. The drafting report on him says Green's calling card as a NFL edge defender will be his explosive first step. Now, has an explosive first step. Odafe Oweh, one of the reasons why he's always in the backfield, but he never can finish the story, is because his first step is not explosive. He has speed, but he doesn't have that explosive first step, which he gets back there, but he's always a minute too late, it seems. But you look at Green, they say he's a NFL edge defender because of that explosive first step and his sophisticated pass rush plan that keeps tackles off balance. They say he has great bend. He's very athletic. So when he coming around that corner and at his size and at his weight against a 300-pounder, he's using leverage and speed against those guys, allowing him to get deep in that backfield on that QB in a couple of seconds. And that's what you need. I'm telling you, y'all, there are a couple of small school edge rushers still in this draft that I think the Ravens can get a budget pick at the 4th and 5th level. They'll be a little bit of what I'll say, projects, but that's all we've been drafting for the last couple of years. Projects, Adisa Isaac, Ojabo. We can probably scrap those projects, jettison off some dead weight, because we paying these guys to be sick and beat up and get into the game. Now, listen, by no means am I trying to be disrespectful to the players. This is a business. Let's talk business. In a perfect world, you can make everybody happy. But in the NFL, it's all about what have you done for me lately. This is not a charity. We need guys plug and play, depth people that can go in there, even if they were a one-trick pony, to execute and get the job done. I'm tired of the last 3 to 4 years, we almost getting to the Super Bowl. We're one piece short. Well, guess what? In this draft, we got Malachi Starks and we got Green. Okay? And both of those guys are plug and play that can get out there, challenge for starter positions, or just plug and play and start. Let's know what they were saying else about him. They said that the blend of speed and technique projects well in passing downs, Though now at the time, he had a 248-pound frame. He legitimately got more weight on, okay? So at that time, he had 248 pounds. He's bigger now. And he's able to stand up against some offensive tackles and get back there. As a stand-up rusher in a 3-4 front, Green shows the tools to develop into more than just a situational pass rusher. You got that? Because he can stand up. And the Ravens run a modified or a hybrid 3-4. So he'll be playing the linebacker or the edge rusher position. He can develop because he's still young. He's relatively injury free. He can develop into something phenomenal. Listen, his natural leverage and rapidly improving hand usage suggests room for growth, even if he'll never be a power player setting the edge. He may not never be that power guy, but I think he will get strong as he matures, and he'll add that strength with leverage and speed to be more than. If anything, he reminds me of a Dwight Freeney, the Colts Dwight Freeney, and that man raised all kinds of havoc against us. Jonathan Ogden caught the blues with that guy, okay, for years. Because of his twitchiness, his bend, he was that guy that perfected techniques to get in the backfield. And a big lumbering 6'6", 300, 400, 300, 340, 350 guy, it's hard for them to get that low and to be that athletic to deal with a dude like that, okay? So this is some pretty serious stuff we're hearing right now. And I know he's still got to play the game. I know he's coming out of college, but he has those intangibles. He has the consistent attitude of being able to do the job. Not a project, somebody we can work on, someone we hope. This is not pixie dust in the air. This man can get the job done. Listen, they said this. There's enough physicality on tape, particularly against tight ends, to project eventually a 3-down capability once his frame fills out. And as you know, that was based on his 248 pounds. Now he's in the 250s. He'll probably go to about 260, 265. Not more than that, because you want to keep his speed and agility up. So he'll get a little bit heavier. There's, what do they say? The key will be maintaining his rare movement skills while adding necessary mass. That's what your training staff is for. That's what your workout staff is for. Your nutritionist is for. And I believe he will develop. The Baltimore Ravens could maximize Green's skill set in the first round. So they were looking at him going in the first round, deploying him strategically while he develops. His wrestling background. There we go. That wrestling background. I always tell my kids in the Baltimore Football Academy, Wolfpack, I told them to take wrestling. Wrestling teaches you leverage. It makes you an overall better athlete, because wrestling is mano a mano, it's strength, it's leverage, it's technique, and it makes better football players. And you're seeing it with him, his flexibility, those things he's developed. So, his wrestling background and his steep improvement curve at Marshall hinted at continual growth ahead. He got better when he was at Marshall, transferring from Virginia. So he got better. Okay, which means he has a pretty good football IQ. He's teachable, and he's ready to go to the next level. Check this out. It says that still teams must weigh his elite pass rushing traits against his physical limitations that may ultimately cap his ceiling. The floor appears to be productive situational pass rusher with Pro Bowl upside if his development track continues upward. I believe it's going to continue upward. He's at the right team. Teams like us Pittsburgh, the 49ers, possibly the Seahawks, the Lions, teams like that who horn in and have a history of strong, solid edge rushers. They're going to help him grow. He's at the Ravens. He has Chuck Smith. He has a staff in place to help him maximize his potential. And if I would give a draft grade on day one, I would give us an A. An A. Now, I know people say, well, A, no, it's a B. I would give us an A. We have a smart, instinctual ball hawk. Tackling. He has the prototypical height, weight, and skill set with the intangibility of instincts, being at the right place at the right time, being able to patrol the whole middle of the field, sideline to sideline. He's a complementary piece to Kyle Hamilton, to Humphrey, to Nate Wiggins. Him and Washington gonna work. And to whoever playing that second corner. Day 2, pick 59. A top 10, top 20 pick that fell to the second round. I give him an A. I give him an A. I give him an A. Because he should have been off the board before the Ravens even seen 27. But he fell to them. And based on EDC saying they did their investigation, and based on what they got back, there's no accusations, there's no issues looming. So we're going to pick him and use our second pick, that very, very important second pick, to bring in the pass rusher we've been looking for. So you got your safety, defensive back, and you got your edge rusher. Okay, you got all those pieces. Plus, he's teachable. And he can grow. Then we waited around. A couple of times I thought I was going to see Shedeur Sanders go off the board. And let's address him right now real quick. Listening to all the talk today, talking to a few of my friends, Rodney Mundell, shout out to my boy George, shout out to Coach. You know what I'm talking about. We talked about this, and I said I believe it's based on color, and I still do, because I know in drafts past, and I've seen it, if you take Shedeur Sanders' stats and give him on a white guy, his same size and height, without the name Sanders, he would have been off that board. Whether he's backup or whatever, because he was good enough to put some records up there, to be in the Heisman Trophy race, to have several accomplishments from Jackson State down to Colorado, to take 2 losing programs to make them eligible for championships. And I heard somebody said that it's his celebrity. He is rich off his NIL deals outside of his father's money. It's not counting his father. He's rich based on his performance and his skill set. His NIL money is coming in, and he's capping on that. Okay? He really don't need NFL money. He got money, which makes him dangerous. I was talking to Coach Reggie Ellis, my alumni, and we were talking, and I read something he put in the NFL. Oftentimes they love, I can call them predatory to a degree, no knock, because they like the hungry kid who never had anything. So he's just out there and he'll do whatever the team or program say do or change to keep that money coming in. But Shedeur don't need the money, and he has the skill set. And I know that if he had a better line in Colorado and he ain't take so many sacks, that you'll see a lot better. But if you do want to study tape, look at the time that he had time to throw. He delivered darts. He had precision passing. They say his arm is weak. I watched him throw Travis Hunter some great passes, Joe Horn some great passes, Will Shepherd some great passes. So I don't believe that. I just think that he will cause, and I heard this from a commentator today, and I forgot who it was. They says that when he goes onto a team, and say for instance he go to the Cleveland Browns and Joe Flacco or Deshaun Watson starts, because he has celebrity and because people know him, he's a distraction. He'll distract the starting quarterback, because once that quarterback start doing something wrong, the powers that be, his fan club gonna cause so much havoc wanting Shador to start. It was like when we had Joe Flacco and Lamar, and people were crying for Lamar to take over. And when Lamar took over and Lamar started faltering towards the playoff time, the postseason, people were cheering for put back in Joe Flacco. You don't need that kind of distractions on the team. So I think that, I believe that could be part of it. I'm not going to say that's the whole thing. I think it's because of who his father is, his celebrity, his money. People say he's cocky. All quarterbacks are cocky. Don't tell me that. Quarterbacks are cocky. They have to be. They have to be able to throw an interception and get back out there. They have to be self-motivated and cocky to the point that they are leaders of men. So there has a little arrogance there. So don't tell me he's cocky and Johnny Manziel doing this and all this stuff like that. Baker Mayfield. Ryan Leaf was a little cocky. The Manning brothers, okay? You got an air of cockiness. But when Cam Newton does it, or Lamar Jackson does it, it's a problem. It's a double standard. But I'm going to tell you, he'll probably go again. He'll probably be drafted by a team. I think the Raiders may try to grab him with the 4th pick in the 4th round. I'm sorry, not the 4th pick, but the 4th round. Cleveland may do it, but Cleveland got a bunch of plug and play backups on their squad. But I think, in looking at the draft scenario and looking at the reaches they got, and I'm not knocking those quarterbacks that were picked. Please don't understand. But I know based on the stats I see you having and the stats Shador had, that he's a better productive player at the position than what I've seen from these quarterbacks. And it's not a knock. It is what it is. It is what it is. And when they said that the Giants quarterback was better running the ball, I watched Shador Sanders run and get touchdowns. I watched Shador Sanders scramble around and make plays. So come on, don't tell me he's not athletic. What he did was what they want most black quarterbacks to do, become pocket passers. And he did it at an excellent level to become a pocket passer. Now, he does have some cons because he holds that ball a little too long. He does. It has caused a lot of sacks. He was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in college football because he does hold the ball long. But when he's given the time and to make the decision, he's a very smart and accurate quarterback. He really don't show off arm power because he don't have to. Not when he has playmakers like Travis Hunter, Will Shepherd, Horn. He don't. He don't. His only detriment is his line wasn't strong. If he had a strong line, he would have been gone by round 1. So now he's out there, and he's going to drop to probably the 4th round, and some team like Cleveland, the Raiders, New Orleans, or a surprise team, the Jets, somebody like that will grab him. So you got to realize one thing. In the NFL, all these owners, coaches, and scouts, they all talk. And once they, because when you look at it, people have been scrutinizing Shador more than any other quarterback I've seen in a while. They were looking for kryptonite from him. They were looking for a reason to not want to give him money. I'm serious. The same thing they knock him on, it's a knock against another quarterback, but they'll take him because they said he can develop. Like Shador ain't smart enough to get better. One commentator said, he said that they believe that Deion hid a lot of his flaws. I said, but what coach don't? There's not a coach in college that know that his quarterback has some flaws that they're not going to not devolve, because the bottom line is their job is to build the program by having high draft picks, because high draft pick quarterbacks bring in high caliber athletes in the as kids commit. So your job is to sell the program by having as many of your players go high in the draft. So you're not going to go out there and say, oh, my player has bad feet. Oh, my player fumbles a lot. No, you're going to paint the picture so that the buyer will buy the canvas and not the flaws in the picture. Okay, so let's get that clear. All right, so Shador is still sitting out there. Somebody's going to grab him. They already put it in the mindset that he'll be a backup quarterback. He's a backup quarterback. Okay, Tom Brady was a backup quarterback in the 6th round, but look at his career. The revitalized Drew Brees. Okay, Geno Smith remember, he was just bouncing around from teams. Justin Fields got another chance. They were down in Jalen Hurt. Somebody, he can never do this. You know, there's always a double standard. Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones on the Giants was horrible. He get pressured, he'll fumble the ball, he'll do this and this. He had speed, he would run, trip over his own feet. They made excuses, they paid him, they kept him a long time. They kept him, they chose him over Saquon Barkley. Okay? And nobody's crying about that. But Shador, you know, I'm praying for you. Tomorrow when I watch the draft and I'm doing my notes, I hope somebody grabbed you early, and I hope you show them, allowed to be fuel to the fire. The great thing I think is right now he has a father that is able to mentor him and his brother. The internet was crazy today, y'all. Somebody put out there that Shiloh Sanders will probably get picked before Shador. Isn't that crazy? But it's almost true, because I don't know even if Shiloh is even in on it or whatever, but you know, the way they blackballing the kid, whatever. But once he gets picked and he comes in there and he does what he has to do and he's given a fair chance, you know, even if the two seasons and he's in a cornerback competition, or he goes out there and he balls to the wall throughout the preseason and he's making those catches, he's making those passes, and he's making those calls, and he looks excellent. And then the starting quarterback go out there and have a hiccup, and they start cheering for Shador. Give him his opportunity. You know, give him his opportunity. I think he'll shine. Because guess what? You've had a lot of game managers out there. They got jobs. You know, Minshew, he's been given the jobs over and over and over again. Donald, he's been given a chance. I mean, there is opportunities. And when that door opens, you got to walk in there. No, you ain't got to walk in. You got to kick that door down. And never let up. All gas, no brakes, Sanders. That's your new name. All gas, no brakes. When you get your opportunity, run with it. Because even if the team you're on, they may not see it. Other teams are looking for quarterbacks. Okay? How many busts come in the first round? We've seen it forever. Second round. Right. So don't look at it as a defeat. Because they'll go out here and stretch out to get these bums. Okay? They'll get these bums and they'll come out there and they look good. They look good. But you'll look around and find them either as journeymen, or 4 to 5 years later, they playing on Canadian football, XFL, whatever, was it UFL? Or they might be selling used cars in Florida. I've seen it too many times. So keep your head up, Shador. We praying for you. All right. Let's get into the Ravens' second pick on day 2. And the kid's name is Emory Jones Jr. And I think that was a solid pick. Based on where they got the kid with the 91st pick in the 3rd round. And I saw him on a couple of people's draft boards as like the 60th, 70th player overall. So he was pretty solid. Emory Jones Jr., he's 6'5", 315 pounds, out of LSU, which means he's been in the trenches. He's a big nasty. He is scheduled to probably be a guard with the Ravens. But, he played right tackle. A few knocks. He has some developmental, but he's big. He's big, and he has a lot of upside. And we lost McCarr. Okay, so you got him coming in, and he can learn behind this line and even challenge guys like Faalele or even Voorhees. I think he can challenge them because he has the physical attributes. Not saying he'll win it, but he will be a viable backup. God forbid something happens. Listen to this, the skinny on him. The scouting report says, when you watch Jones work in tight quarters, you see a different animal than when he's asked to operate in space, which means when he's out there as a tackle, it's different. He may have some struggles, stuff like that, but when he's in tight quarters between that center and that tackle, he's a different type creature. His film reveals him to be a mauler. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. When they tell a guy's a mauler, and in the Ravens system of running, that means he gets off that line and he beats up defensive linemen. He puts his body, his weight, he works them boys. And when you got a run game like that, Lamar take off, King Henry take off, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, when those guys take off and you got a maul in front of you, they beat and they battle and they fight throughout the whole game till they wear down defensive lines, opening those gaps ever so slow so you can run straight through them and get some positive yards. So that's a plus for me. They labeled him as a mauler. Okay? They say he has a legitimate pop in his hands and that nasty streak to finish blocks through the echo of the whistle. So that means once he gets to working on the guy, he keeps working and working until he hears that whistle. Okay? So you can't train this. Either he has it or don't, which is a good upside. The slight discrepancy between his pass blocking and run blocking grades tells the story of a player whose technical foundation remains under construction despite his physical gifts. The transition to the NFL will demand refinement of his raw tools. His inconsistent balance and hand placement, issues appeal to that. He needs a team that can work on fundamentals with him. And I think the Ravens, I know that the Ravens is the place for him. Okay. And they said they are fixable. So how his hand placement and his balance, he just need to be in a program that focuses on that. Let me tell y'all something. As a youth football coach, I've watched people get talented kids and they run the talent of the kids until they get to their high school, college level where the other kid that may have the same intangibles as them exceed them because they were in programs, not just trying to get to Florida to win a championship, but they were in programs that developed the player. So he may be growing up, getting opportunities where he got sloppy or he wasn't fully trained. But on the pro level, he'll have the opportunity to receive the training he needs to help fix his flaws. And we all got flaws. But in the level of the NFL, they will allow him to fix those flaws. Okay? Let's read some more. They said, but with proper coaching, he needs patience, okay, which is good. I think the Ravens would allow him to grow. A movement inside the guard would capitalize on his drive blocking strengths while minimizing his vulnerabilities against speed rushers who can exploit his occasional over-eagerness to reach edge landmarks. His basketball background shows up in flashes of coordination at suggested untapped potential. So the kid has a lot of upside. Jones brings day one value as a short yardage specialist, while his technical development catches up with his physical toolbox. His performance against the Alabama NFL caliber defensive front, creating consistent movement at the point of attack, demonstrates what makes him an intriguing prospect. When focused, coaching on maintaining leverage through contact and cleaning up his base in pass protection make him a project that can be a winner. Jones could develop into a quality starter by his second or third season in the pros. So the kid has a lot of upside. They can work with him. He don't have to start right away. And to me, that's the perfect place to be when you're a rookie coming into the NFL. You're raw, but you got time to develop. With Faalele going into a contract year, you may be starting next year. Okay? You may be starting next year, which gives you a lot of time to develop. And one of the things in the NFL, a lot of people won't, accept is they need to develop. Mike Green, as nasty, mean, and physically talented he still needs to develop. Okay? Malachi Starks, he's still moving from college to the pros. He still needs to develop. Listen, y'all, I need some help. I'm trying to get my subscriptions up to 1,000 subscribers, and I cannot do it by myself. If you like what I'm doing, if you like my podcast, if you want to support the brother, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button right now. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss any video I put out there. And do me a favor, share this site. Share this YouTube channel. Share this message, this episode with a few people. Tag it. Put it on your page. If all my friends were to help me get 20 new subscribers, I would hit my goal in less than 30 days. Come on, y'all. Help a brother out. Y'all know I'm doing this thing. I love it. I'm going to speak the truth. I don't care who likes it or don't. I'm going to keep running with it. And we're going to have a great time this football season. And even in the off season, we can find football stuff to talk about. But I need your help. Subscribe, like, and share. All right. Man, day 3 is going to be a doozy, and I'm preparing for it. I'm going to sit there with my pad and pen. I'm old school, y'all. So, don't knock it till you try it. I'm going to sit there with my pad and pen. I'm going to take a lot of notes, and we're going to come back and talk about the draft. I'm going to put up a few videos later on today with the pressers of the new Ravens players, some of their their reactions when they got called, stuff like that. But it's going to be a busy weekend, so do me a favor. Stay tuned. Make sure you hit that bell icon after you subscribe so you can get the message that I have a new video for you. Do me a favor and share it on your social media stations. Share it in the text. I just need your support. I don't have enough subscribers yet, but I guarantee you after this weekend, I should have at least 100. And I can have that 100 if you help and support me. All right, y'all. Do me a favor. If you have any questions, send them to my mailbag. My mailbag is up here, and also I'm going to put it right here. Send your questions. Send your comments. If I made a mistake, send some corrections. Because we're going to get better and better with this. All right, my friends. Thank you for your time and support. Day 3 coming up. All right. Peace and blessings.